Hey, everybody, welcome back to the next episode. And today we have Sandra Nomoto. Did I get the last name right?
Nomoto, almost there.
Nomoto. I was close. I was close. Uh, she is a vegan foodie, content writer, editor, and wife on a mission to empower others to make small, meaningful decisions and actions that will help make the world a better place. And I'm not going to go into the whole bio. I'm going to let you explain it because I always start off the podcast. Tell us a little bit about you and how did you get to where you are today?
Wow. Well, thank you for that lovely intro. I guess, yeah, personally, I've always been interested in social and environmental impact. As many people do. I grew up eating meat, and so just the idea of even being vegan was not even on my radar until about the end of 2007. I saw the movie Earthlings. That changed the whole game. I set on the course to eventually become vegan. That was the goal, and it took me 11 years, so it took me a while to get there, but 2018 was when I finally transitioned into a vegan diet. And then professionally, I have a background in public relations, so I ran my own agency for just over 10 years, certified as a B Corporation twice, which I'm really proud of. And I closed that business around the time I became vegan. So for a couple of years, I didn't really know what my next career path
Right.
was going to be. But I sat down at the end of 2019 to meditate, and just this huge intuitive hit came to me and said, you're going to be a writer forever, and you're vegan now. So put those two things together. And so at the start of 2020, I started a new business as the content doctor, content writing and editing for vegan businesses. And I'm really proud to, be able to live out my values through my business. And then I'm also a published author. So my first book was about public relations, and my second book, the ebook is out now, is called Vegan Marketing Success Stories. And that is a guide to marketing, which has the stories of 47 vegan businesses around the world, plus a bunch of examples in there for fun.
Nice. That's cool. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the content and a little bit about because I know this is a question that a lot of the businesses watching will always want to know is, with your journalism background, what do you think are some of the best ways for a business to get noticed nowadays besides TikTok?
Well, I don't have a journalism background. I went to school for English and film studies. And
Right,
so I stumbled into public relations because I started interning for a firm that did a lot of publicity for the film industry.
right,
So we would plan parties, film industry would come out, we would invite the media, and they would put out stories about the party. And I was just
right,
fascinated by that idea of public relations, media outreach, and that's why I started my agency. The one of the reasons why I closed my agency is because that was our bread and butter, traditional media outreach, and I quickly knew around 2016 that the game was changing.
right.
Everything was going digital. We did offer social media to our clients, but I kind of just thought, I don't want to be a social media agency. There's
Right.
so many of those in town, and I don't want to do people's Facebooks for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. So so
Right.
that being said, I think it really depends on your business, what tactics to use. But I would say digital is heavy. You got to have a website for your business. I see businesses all the time starting on Instagram, and that's fine for a while. Like, you might do okay with a small business on Instagram, but if that platform goes down, and it has, for a day, your business is gone. So
Yeah.
definitely have a website. I would say definitely have a blog. A lot of people neglect blogs because they just are too lazy to write, or they don't want to write, they're not inspired. But blogs are really important for search engine optimization, just to get, help you get found on Google with those keywords. And then the other two things are email list, because again, you can't rely on social media
Yeah.
solely. And then social media, depending on what your business is and who you need to reach. TikTok may be one of them, but maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, with everything you said. And it's such I always tell businesses, it's so much of a perception game and every touch point matters. And so if somebody's looking to buy from you or hire you, they might jump IG, they might jump the talk, but then they might read that blog and then they might, like, I mean, it's interesting because I traveled around North America doing compassion shows and we did like 90, 100 of them. And it's amazing how many clients of mine, when I'm working with them, be like, "Oh, I watched this one compassion show that you've done," and like I'm like way back when, and they knew every little detail in that show, right?
Hmm.
Stuff that I didn't even know. So it's interesting how, that the perception in the market is so important on every touch point in the end. And if you can get that right, so many small businesses I see don't have the time to do it. And I said, well, then you don't have time to make money then in the end, because that's really what it comes down to, right? So I'm glad you
Yeah,
brought
they
that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, I mean, the common phrase is, 7 to 10 touch points. It's even more now. You need
Yeah,
10 to 14 touch points
totally.
before your audience remembers you. And I know that firsthand because I've been marketing this book for, yeah, just 6 weeks now. I'm into my, 120-day strategy,
Right.
and it works. It absolutely works when you're on social every day. I'm putting out weekly blogs and emails as well. So by the time the ebook became available, people in my network are like, yep, I'm going to go buy it. So yeah, it absolutely works.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I think it's so important, because I see so many businesses don't take it, they take it okay seriously, but it is the game. When I brought all the
Yeah.
Curves for Women franchises to Canada, which were my first businesses, um, I didn't have internet at that time. Like I had to do newspaper and flyers and
Yeah.
radio, and you had to have money. There was no free play, right? Like you had to have some money or you were pretty much not going to play the game.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's just a matter of, you can play for free. Now it is more commoditized and competitive because of that, but the average person is not putting out a lot of content. So I believe, like you said, eventually you can take some decent market share if you keep doing it like you were doing, like with your book.
Thank you. Yeah, and I say, if you're not spending money, you're still spending time.
Yeah.
Because yeah, some of the contributors to my book, a lot of them are small to medium businesses. I really did not get any responses from the large corporations, and so a lot of them, yeah, talked about using social media organically, not investing in ads, but they're still putting in time. And so, yeah, if you're not doing the ad game, you got to think about investing the time. Otherwise,
Yeah, and you're so right on that. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's something that businesses really got to understand. And I always say this, if you're not spending 10 grand a month and up on ads, then you have to go super hard on organic because you're
yeah,
not going to be able to play if you don't. It's just impossible. So you either have one, you either have time or you have money, and you better figure
yeah,
out which one you're going to play more of, right?
yeah,
So
100%.
love it, love we're having this conversation because I think it's probably the number one most important thing in business right now, to tell you the truth. So let's talk a little bit about the vegan space now. So for you, how come you've seen the movie, and then why did you decide to start like going into the vegan space, and like why did you decide I want to start writing in the space? I want to start working with businesses. Like how did that come about? Why?
Yeah, I think in 2019, so that was, I was a year into being vegan, paying attention to, the media outlets that were in the space, and tracking the businesses and seeing what everyone was up to. So at first I thought, maybe I can write for some of these outlets. The thing is, not all of them pay.
Right,
And at best, even if I was being paid to write articles, I might make a part-time income, but
right,
not a full-time income. And so, unless you're a staff writer for one of these outlets
right,
full-time, and I didn't want to go that route. Like I said, I don't have a journalism background. And so that's when I sat down to meditate. And I think that's when I got that hit that, don't go the journalism route. Start writing, for the businesses, because I did some of that work when I ran my PR agency, but it wasn't one of our core services. But
right.
I had done, written some articles for clients and got them published on HuffPost and things like that. So yeah, I just started reaching out to all the vegan businesses I knew in town, in our town of Vancouver, and said, hey, I'm starting this new thing. Know anyone who needs some writing or editing help? And I was really fortunate to pick up my first few clients, and
Right.
just, yeah, got that momentum right away, and started networking with vegan networks. So, I was paying attention to Vegan Business Tribe. I joined Viva's in 2021, which was the Vegan Women's Network. It's no longer around. Yeah. And then I was invited to join Veg Networking Canada, which was, another little networking group that started here in Vancouver. I became the co-host, and now we're across Canada. So yeah, just started networking with the vegan community, and yeah, I would say that's probably a big part of how I got the book together as well. Just being immersed in the communities and knowing who's who.
Right. That's amazing. So, what do you think's been one of the biggest challenges of working to grow your business?
I would say it's probably same as the last business, and for anybody is just exposure. Although again, like I said, I was really fortunate in the beginning because I knew that vegans and people running vegan businesses was my target client, and it's very niche. Like, vegans were a very small population of the world. And so once you get in there, it's not too difficult. And with the pandemic, there were no events to go to. And so online was really the place. And I stepped up my LinkedIn game a lot. I have to say that. That really helped getting into the Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, just telling people, getting on podcasts. So yeah, I would say that's primarily, yeah, what I've done. Obviously referrals are my number one source of clients,
Yeah.
followed by just, yeah, people finding me online. Whereas that was not the case with my previous business. Previous business, I had to network in person, and that's
Right.
changed to online now.
Right. So, when you were going in the groups, were you, how were you doing that? Were you like just posting good content? Were you talking to people? How were you executing in the groups?
Yeah, I mean, every group's a little bit different, right? A lot of them you can't, spam every day, and so usually, you get one chance at an introduction, and then yeah, and then just hopping in there, engaging with people, and then every time there's somebody, who says, "I need," know a writer, I'm the one that then responds and pops up. And I would say, as a service provider, having a portfolio really helped. So I put together a portfolio of all the writing I've done and sites I've edited and things like that. And just posting that into a group whenever somebody says, "Hey, looking for a writer," that, beats out everybody who says, "Oh, just DM me." Like, no, you don't want the potential client to work harder to find you.
Yeah.
Make it easy for them to make the decision. So yeah, so there's a Facebook group I popped into, and I was probably the 10th person who put my hat in the ring. And I said, "Here's my portfolio, contact me if," and within 10 minutes, she emailed me and she's like, "Yeah, I want to work with you." So that just told me, definitely have a portfolio if you're a service provider.
Right. I mean, that's such good advice. It's interesting because I was coaching a group of businesses last night on Zoom, and one of the girls said, Shane, I helped her create, for us, it's all, we always have created so many decks and stuff like that. And everything we have, we can pull the trigger on so many areas instantly, my team, instantly on everything. Right. And I always say it's how you do business and how fast you do business. And that's what good
Mhm.
CEOs do. And she's created a new deck she was going after corporations for her workshops. And she said, it was just amazing how I was able to execute so fast now on this beautiful thing in a matter of seconds. And then they got back to me right away and the conversation started. And she said, until you taught me how to do that, I was scrambling a little here and a little there. And I said, I mean, it's just such an important thing because anybody that's good at business will understand that speed and be like, this person does good business, so I want to do business with them, right? And
Mhm.
it's just critical, And I always tell small businesses that's where you actually beat your competitors in your market because, the truth is just a lot of people are not great at growing businesses. They're just not. It's just they don't have the skill set. They haven't developed the skill set to get to those next levels. And so I said, those little things that you just talked about, those little details are the big things in the end to win the business.
Yeah, preparation goes a long way, and it's not difficult at all to put together a portfolio, whether it's a
No.
PDF document or
Yeah,
for me, it's a page on my website,
yeah,
to put that together. And I've done my research. I know there are a lot of vegan copywriters around the world. There's a bunch you can choose from if you want to
yeah.
find a vegan copywriter. But yeah, I think things like that. Yeah, just if you can put your hat in the ring faster and make it yeah, just minimizing that friction between the potential client and what you offer, like, yeah, that's a sweet spot right there.
Yeah, I agree so much. Uh, so how about the vegan industry? Where do you think the vegan industry is going as a whole?
I think it's going up. I mean, yeah, since I've started this business, I've just seen like so many businesses opening up and growing around the world too. First it was heavy in North America and
Mhm.
probably Europe. Asia's getting in the game really big, India, Singapore. Um, yeah, again, I'm not an expert in terms of certain industries, food industry,
Yeah,
but I read the newsletters. A lot of capital is being invested in this area, especially cultured meat, which I don't necessarily call vegan, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean it's an exciting space to be part of right now for sure.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. I've got, takes on that too, like the growing of the meat and stuff like that. And so there's so many different aspects of it. Um, and I guess too for me too is when I start to look at, if someone's not gonna eat an animal or kill an animal, I'd rather them do that. And if,
Yeah.
we're gonna save the environment more, I'd rather them do that, then there's an argument is that going to save the environment in certain ways too? But it's a whole nother conversation we could have. That would be 3 hours. But yeah, but I like the way the direction is going with the whole community. And I think people are becoming more highly conscious nowadays of just everything, animals, environment,
Yeah.
so much, right? So with you, where do you see yourself in the next, like, where do you want to be in the next 2, 3 years with your business? What's your goal?
Yeah, I would just say more the same, just being like that go-to person. As I do a lot of writing, but my sweet spot, what I really love to do is edit.
More interesting. I don't
Because
hear
with
that. I
editing,
don't hear that very
I
much,
know.
right?
And so
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 like,
if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, we put out content, we do it ourselves, but we could probably be doing better in terms of a
yeah,
written content. That's who I want to work with because
right.
we're already working with your brand voice. I just go in and make it sound tighter. If you need to cut, let's say, transcribe a podcast you've been on and turn it into a blog, I can do something like that.
Yeah,
Or just cut down some content. You've got 1,000 word article. Hey, I need to submit like a 250 word article. Cut this down for me. Like that's the kind of stuff I really love to do. And that's why I actually got into book editing, because I had more time during the pandemic. So I took some courses in book editing, formatting, indexing. So self-publishing authors is also they're my other type of clientele, aside from businesses. And obviously, I would like to work with more vegan authors. So the
yeah.
more we can get your story out there, the better. So yeah, would love to be known as that person that can help self-publishing authors get their stories out there. And I think now that I've had my second book under my belt, I'll probably start offering coaching for this as well, because yeah, I get asked a lot of questions from my clients that normally a coach would help you with.
Right,
but
right. Yeah,
but I've been giving a lot of free advice, so I think yeah, probably in a couple months I'll be in a position to offer some coaching.
right. So do you always want to stay do you want to stay a small, like, are you solo entrepreneur right now, or do you have, yeah, so do you want to always stay solo, or is your goal to grow a team eventually, or what's the future of that with your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. I love being solo right now, but like I said, editing is really what I love to do. And so if I want to do more of that and less writing, I'm going to have to yeah, probably hire at least one writer on my team, and then that's probably how we'll grow. But I don't foresee myself yeah, growing like a huge copywriting
Yeah,
agency or anything like that, because I do have that experience from my previous business, and I know I don't want to replicate that again. So
right, right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, you want some balance in your life.
Yeah.
All right. That's amazing. So is with your business, so you had the PR before, right? That was PR you were doing before.
Yes.
Was that your first business, the PR business?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what attracted you to becoming an entrepreneur?
You know what? I didn't even call myself an entrepreneur at the time. I don't even call myself an entrepreneur now. It just feels, yeah, solopreneur probably feels more accurate.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so my first job, like I said, outside of school was at a PR firm, and that's where I learned, the ropes of how to do the job. When I left that company, I just had a feeling like I didn't want to apply at any other agencies because you don't have control over the clients that you work for.
Right,
And some of them I liked, others I didn't. And I couldn't articulate it then, but what I know now is that I just wanted more value alignment in my work. And
right,
so my sister really inspired me. She had sort of a similar path. She went from admin assistant to partner of a small business and then eventually sold it. So I saw her being her own boss, and I'm like, I think I could do that too. And so I just, yeah, 2008, I just kind of, threw a website together in Flash, if you remember those days.
yeah,
Put together a business card and just started telling people, hey, I'm a publicist. I'm offering this now, and that's how my first business started, as an independent publicist. And then a few years later, I rebranded to Conscious PR because, again, just my values and my intuition started coming to me and saying, you really got to start looking for more socially, environmentally conscious businesses, and so that became my clientele when I rebranded in 2012.
yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of similar to what I've done lately. Before I was helping a lot of businesses in general. And I mean, I got to admit, like because we have a compassion movement, so we have a lot of, my friend that owns, three McDonald's, gives us money for our compassion movement and stuff like that. So there's a lot of compassionate people. So I'm I'm but now I've moved into more working just with conscious businesses and vegan businesses in general, just
Great.
because I mean I don't eat Big Macs, so even though I love them, you know what I mean, I don't eat that, right? So but there's still good, still a lot of compassion, I'm saying he's very compassionate, right? So I've tried to, I said to him, well, at least you got a Impossible Burger on the menu now in McDonald's, right? So
Nice. We got to
yeah,
get that up here in Canada. We tend to be like a few years behind Europe
yeah,
and US when it comes
yeah,
to stuff
yeah.
like that. So
We
Canada's
always
got to
are.
get
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. We always lag a little bit when it comes to that
Yeah.
type of stuff. Yeah, awesome. So what do you why do you think writing a book is important for somebody to do?
Yeah. I'm still in it right now, so I can't say, why it's better than any other form of marketing, but
Yeah,
it is a very unique piece of content. I could tell you that. Yes, you can write blogs, you can send as many emails as you can and social media posts, but a book is like a compact package that can showcase your expertise, whatever that is.
right.
And yeah, it lives on forever potentially, right, unless you take it down from the platform. So what, and yeah, you have to think about formats now too. Now people are reading on tablets, and so ebooks are super important to produce, not just the print books, and then audiobooks as well. So this is, yeah, my first time putting together an audiobook and just working with the narrator. And then we both discovered we need a sound engineer too, because the Audible platform, you have to have your audio at a certain sound level. They won't
Right.
accept it. And so yeah, so I've added, a sound engineer to my team, and it's just so interesting to test out that format. But yeah, no matter what format you put out, like, yeah, a book is really a unique piece of content that can give you endless content ideas, for when you're looking for a new blog idea or whatever to post on social media. You can always draw on your book. And then, of course, there's the campaign. So there's the launch around the timing of the book, and that'll get you additional exposure. So that's no mistake why I'm here. I'm here to talk about the fact that the book's out, and so yeah, getting on podcasts, talking to media, and then of course, yeah, just rallying your audience around the book. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think a book is, I'd written 4 books, especially in the fitness days when I had the curves and all that type of stuff. And it really gave positioning of where I needed it. And I think if people, need more positioning, I think it really helps you break into that market and gives you more credibility. I said I would never
Yeah.
write a book again because I know the process and stuff like that, but they're really trying to push me to write a book right now again, and some of the publishers want to pick me up and stuff like that. um and I just know the whole process of it. So I've been, we're probably going to pull the trigger, but I know, like, working with,
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a year of your life, maybe even more.
yeah,
So yeah, so you definitely gotta put in the time and be in the mindset of, yeah, putting
100%.
out a new book.
And I tell people, it's not writing the book, it's the marketing of the book. And that's where I know it's going to take so long, so much time and so long. And especially if you're going, for us, they think, well, because maybe if we're working with one of the bigger ones out of New York and publishing houses, it's easy. But I'm like, I said to my team, it's way more work for us. Trust me, when I'm on tour, when we're doing signings, when we're doing, like, it's going to be an
Yeah,
animal. It's not as easy as it looks right now. Like, so, so I mean, I will pull the trigger. It's just a matter of when I think I'm going to pull the trigger and have the
yeah,
capacity, and the bandwidth to say, okay, let's do it right. But I
yeah.
have,
The writing is the easy part. That's what
yeah,
I say. Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
everything after that yeah, you got to take care of. So yeah, not to
totally.
scare anybody away from doing the
No,
book. It's a very worthwhile project. But yeah, you definitely have got to be in the mindset and be ready for everything.
yeah. And I think that, people listening right now, like you just said, and we just talked about, you got to start to look at the marketing and look at that type of stuff before you even write the book. If you get that right,
Yeah.
you're going to do well, right? But so many people I see write it and then they don't sell any books or don't get the word out there. Their strategy is not even there. So they wonder why it's not working like they should, right? But I said it's like any business, if whoever's the best strategist in business always wins, period. It's just what it
Hmm.
comes down to, So awesome. So where can they all find you at? Any kind of social media, any kind of websites, if they want to hire you for any writing and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, just with my name. So I'm everywhere, Sandra Nomoto. My website, sandranomoto.com. If you want to go specifically to the content services, you can go to thecontentdoctor.co, but that'll lead you all in the same place. And same with my book. You can find the info on the book on my website.
Cool, awesome. And then did you give, what about you do Instagrams and that type of stuff? What's the handles?
Yeah, just my name.
Just your
So
name? Okay.
Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. My Facebook page is Sandra Nomoto Books.
Okay.
And then YouTube, you'll just have to find me with my name because I, yeah, don't have a URL yet.
Yeah, no worries. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this, and everybody go check her out. I'm sure there's people watching right now that will need writing done and stuff like that. As you know, I always preach the importance of putting out content, having good writers, and the more you tell your story, the better you're going to do. So I highly recommend what she's doing. I believe in it. So thank you so much for this.
You're welcome, Shane. And it was a pleasure being on your podcast. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Take care, everybody. Next